Hi everyone, I'm Callie Kim. Welcome to my garden. Cucumbers are one of my very favorite vegetables to grow. They're easy to grow, prolific, and there's nothing I love more than biting into a fresh cucumber on a hot summer day. It's just so refreshing. And I have a feeling that's why you're here. Well, today I'm going to share with you how to harvest 10 times more cucumbers this summer. Grab a big harvest basket, you're going to need it. Get ready to experience growing cucumbers like you never have before. It's mid-April and I'm just getting my cucumbers planted out in the garden. The nights have been chilly, the days have been chilly, but warmer weather is here. Now the first thing to harvesting 10 times more cucumbers this summer is that the timing is critical. They're warm weather vegetables. They grow best in temperatures between 70 and 95 degrees. And they don't like cold nights. Unlike tomatoes and peppers, which can take nights in the 40s and 50s, cucumbers like nice warm soil, nights in the 50s and 60s, and warm summer days. So if you get them out in your garden too soon, they could die, or they might just sit there and not grow at all. I like to start mine from seed about 4 weeks before I'm going to plant them outside, or if you live in an area where you get frost, don't start them any sooner than about 2 weeks before your last frost date. And the reason for this is they grow so fast. If you start them too soon indoors, they're going to outgrow their seed starting containers. They get root bound, they get stunted, and they just don't do well in the garden. So time it about right to where you're starting your seeds about 4 weeks before you're going to get them outdoors. They love warm soil, so you want to plant them when the soil temperature is about 70 degrees, and then they're going to take off and produce a ton of cucumbers for you this summer. You can also sow seeds directly in your raised beds or your containers, but the key is don't plant the seeds until the soil temperature is around 70 degrees, and they won't germinate in temperatures under 50 degrees. If you want to 10x your cucumber harvest this summer, you have to know how cucumbers reproduce. Cucumbers have both male and female flowers, and they only produce fruit from the female flowers, and the bees need to move the pollen from the male flower to the female flower in order for the female flower to produce the cucumbers. There are 3 different types of cucumbers, and growing a cucumber of each type will really help you 10x your harvest. Monoecious cucumbers are the standard variety cucumbers that have both male and female flowers. Some of these are Marketmore, Space Master, lemon cucumber, really delicious varieties. The second type are called gynoecious, and those are types that have only female flowers or primarily female flowers. So you can really 10x your harvest by including some of the gynoecious varieties in your garden. Some of my favorites are Diva and Ashley. The gynoecious varieties that have primarily female flowers will need to be grown with a monoecious variety with female and male flowers in order for it to pollinate. The third type of cucumber are called parthenocopic. I know I'm sharing a lot of big words with you today, but these ones are amazing because they don't need pollination in order to produce. They might have both male and female flowers, but it really doesn't matter because the female flowers are going to produce no matter what. These are excellent varieties to grow in a greenhouse where you don't have a lot of access to bees. Really good for cooler climates where you might not have the heat you need to really 10x your harvest. This can really bump up your production. Technique number 3 to 10x your cucumber harvest this summer is provide them with a nice, sturdy support. This is my A-frame trellis. You can check out our trellis video for more information on that, but they need to be grown up instead of out. Keeps them up off the ground, away from the pests and critters, and provides them with really good airflow underneath, which is critical for cucumbers because they are prone to powdery mildew and downy mildew when they don't have enough support. So I'm going to plant one right here at the base of my trellis, and I always throw in a good handful of worm castings in my planting hole. Has good probiotics and really helps the plants fend off disease, and a little sprinkle of organic granular fertilizer. Mix it around. So here I'm going to drop in a Boston pickling cucumber, which is a monoecious variety. Remember, that has both male and female flowers. And this is a very prolific variety, great for pickling, but also great for fresh eating. So with it having both male and female flowers, it will ensure that my gynoecious varieties have plenty of male flowers to pollinate. Just drop it in the hole, backfill it with soil. Got it right next to the base of the trellis so it has plenty of support and something to climb on. Next, to 10x your harvest this summer, watering and feeding are critical, especially for cucumbers because they have very shallow roots. If your containers dry out, if your raised beds dry out, they're just not going to produce because they're going to be very, very stressed. So get them off to a good start. I like to use fish fertilizer to start off with, high in nitrogen. And this way they get started off with lots of good leafy growth. And as you go throughout the season and they start to flower and fruit, you're going to back off and not add any more nitrogen fertilizer to your watering can here, but just add the Vermistera Vitality, which has lots of good probiotics. It's made with worm castings and it helps your cucumber plants be healthier, which is super critical for cucumbers because they're very, very prone to disease. But to start off, I'm gonna add both. And this good water-soluble fertilizer, the cucumbers can immediately uptake it. So getting them off to a really good start from the get-go is critical. So here I'm just gonna give them a nice soil drench, the base of the plant. And with containers, you want to keep them well watered, don't let them dry out, and fertilize them about every 2 weeks, and you will be amazed at how this will 10x your cucumber harvest in your containers. Really important that you stay consistent. Now my little seedling here in my raised bed, I'm going to fertilize it with my plant cocktail and my nitrogen, fish fertilizer, and my Vermistera worm tea right here at the time of planting. You only want to feed your cucumbers nitrogen at the very beginning of the season to establish that good leafy growth. And then the next time you feed them, about a month in, no nitrogen, just use the worm tea or the Vitality because that will help promote the flowers and the fruit development and not excessive leaves. My fertilizing schedule is all written down for you in my book on raised bed gardening. 10xing your cucumber harvest this summer is to harvest them often and harvest them young. Now I don't have any cucumbers ready to harvest yet, but hopefully within about 6 to 8 weeks, this trellis will fill out and I'll have a ton of cucumbers on here. Now the goal of a plant is to reproduce itself. And when you leave the cucumbers on the vine too long, it sends a signal to the plant to stop producing the fruit and start producing the seeds. So you want to harvest them early, about 4 to 6 inches for slicing cucumbers, around 3 to 4 inches for pickling cucumbers. But once they start to grow, they come in fast. So check your vines daily, lift them up, look underneath. They love to hide underneath. The more you harvest, the more your cucumber plants are going to produce, and harvesting them young also has the added benefit of them being super, super tasty and less bitter. I absolutely cannot wait to start harvesting my cucumbers this summer. I've got my harvest basket ready. How about you? Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.